Danielle, I don't know if you're aware, but something that I really am quite passionate about is board games.
Oh yeah? I
Uh,
think I did know that, but I'd like to hear more.
I'm a big fan, and this thing is right up my alley here. This is called Heroes of Normandy.
With an IE instead of a Y at the end.
With an IE, right? It's a
Yes.
little Euro in that sense, but it's a very Ameritrashy kind of war game, meaning
Sure.
that there's a lot of dice rolling. It's heavily themed, and it's themed to all of my favorite war movies of like the 50s, 60s, and 70s. All of these little
Perfect.
caricatures are definitely aping old characters in, A Bridge Too Far or Clint Eastwood movies or The Dirty Dozen, stuff like that. And
Oh,
it's
sure, with the chomping the cigars and all of that. Yeah.
cigars everywhere. But this is actually a game developed from a very successfully kickstarted board game. And
Oh,
that
cool.
it was funded to the tune of £150,000, maybe $200,000 more or
Oh,
less,
wow.
back in
Nice.
2013. So folks have really been waiting for the computer version of this for a very long time, and it's finally
Yeah.
here. And the way it works is quite literally, you're going to move all these little chits and all these little pieces around by hand on essentially a wooden table. And it looks just
Excellent.
like it looks just like what comes in the box of Heroes of Normandy. They even went so far as to include these little markings here, which I think are
Oh,
the
that's
original
perfect.
markings on the tiles that are in the game box. So theoretically, I bet you could build this exact map with your at-home set of this board game.
That's really cool. That feels like really kind of good fan service a little bit. Like, yeah, you can recreate it all. It's perfect.
This is absolutely dripping with fan service. The way you kind of pick up and move your pieces, it really does. It speaks to the fans of this game, the fans that have been so dedicated to it and helped to bring it life on Kickstarter. And here it is now on a PC. But Danielle, I got to tell you, it feels very much like it should be an iPad. Like,
Yeah, I was going to ask actually if like they're planning to support that because this seems, absolutely perfect for, kind of moving things around with your fingers and not just a mouse.
yeah, and like there's buttons here that look very much like they should have been on an iPad version. I mean, look at this over here. I got to hit this button here in order to move to the next segment
Yeah.
of the turn. It feels like it's very much got its roots in iPad, and strangely enough, it was supposed to come out on iPad first, but that one actually got
Ooh.
delayed, and there's no current release date for the iPad
Oh
version.
no.
But I
Oh,
don't think
there's a
that's
story there, I'm sure.
right. I don't know what's up with that, but I was actually talking to the folks that made this by email earlier today, and they said they're very dedicated to the PC version. They want to support it after it launches, and they're really going to spend a lot of their time polishing this and adding to it over time. And it comes out this week on Steam, so it should be available for
Nice.
purchase soon.
That's awesome. And how does the gameplay feel? Have you played the board game itself? How does it compare?
I have not had the pleasure of playing the board game itself, but
Ah, okay.
it is very board gamey, and like I was saying, it's
Sure.
very authentic to the original board game experience. And it proceeds turn by turn. It's got an interesting mechanic whereby you give a selection of your units orders, but then you also give a bluff. And so you're going to move maybe
Ooh,
two or three of your units, but your opponent doesn't know which two or three of your units necessarily you're going to move.
I see.
And so there is a
That's a
multi.
really cool idea. Yeah.
Yeah. And there's also a multiplayer component to the game as well. So you can hook up with your friends on Steam and play, essentially, a really good and well-respected board game virtually, just like this. But
Nice.
but there's another little feature that I wanted to show you here, and let me actually back out of this particular match here. Because it's a computer game, right? They can do things that they couldn't necessarily do with the board game. So check this out.
Yeah.
There is a roguelike campaign.
Perfect.
So you can actually build your army and earn gold from mission to mission, and then use those units that you've collected in the next mission that you got to do, and you have to kind of keep them healthy and support them. So this is my base Panzer Grenadier group. It's going to come with a named hero character. It's going to come with a recon group, a fire team, and also a heavy machine gun. But then I can go in here, and for a couple extra golds, I can give them some extra grenades. I can go in here and add another anti-tank group, unless I don't have enough money. So it's really clever, and then it lets you go as far as you can before it really ups the difficulty on you as well. So the first couple of missions are going to be very introductory missions, then they get more and more difficult as you go. So I've really been enjoying kind of the gentle ramp up of it, but I got to tell you, it's also really difficult at times.
Oh, yeah.
It's very unforgiving. If you get your units in the wrong place, they are going to get annihilated. So anyway, I thought that
kind of like war, I suppose.
Kind of like war, yeah. Well, I thought that you would find the game enjoyable. I know that folks out there are really excited about this one, and it's going to be coming later on this week on Steam. So thanks for joining me, Danielle.